Hey guys, Chris here again. Today I'm trying to turn 500 razor blades into a knife. The unwrapping of the knife was definitely a task I wouldn't want to do again. The blades are super thin. So I have now unwrapped 500 razor blades and I haven't cut myself, which is great. All for this small pile of razor blades. I thought I have much more material, but that's how it goes now. So now I have to prepare it for the forging. For the canister I'm using mild steel and I'm coating the inside with Tibex. That should help with keeping the inside of the canister separate from the outer shell. Then I can proceed to fill all the voids with high carbon steel powder with nickel content so we get a nice contrast. There's where I probably have made a mistake, which I will explain later. At first I thought I will have more than plenty of razor blades to forge some steel. Well, I was so wrong. The pile was so small in the end, especially after I pressed it together with the clamps and welded it shut. So the canister is now built and now it is time to light the forge and start my first canister Damascus. So this is how it looks now, what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to take my angle grinder to it and try to cut away that outer casing to see what actually happens inside before I do more pressing on the steel. Splitting the canister from the material that was inside worked pretty well. With the angle grinder and the steel wedge I could split them really easily. What I then noticed was kind of worrying me, the bottom layer weren't bonding really well. I should have probably used a different die on my press to forge weld them. I have to build this die first hand for the next project. Then I proceeded to use a lot of flux to get the billet welded solid again. I welded a handle on the block of steel, but it broke off after the first heat and the steel was super crumbly and it wasn't really welding. And then it split it completely on me right down the middle. So guys, I have to disappoint you because this is how my 500 layers of razor blades look like. They just tore apart. I don't know what went wrong. This was my first canister Damascus and it failed, and sometimes shit like that happen. I'm kind of disappointed, I'm kind of frustrated. I don't know, maybe I have to do some more research. Maybe you have a clue. Drop it down below into the comment section what I have done wrong. But because I don't want to disappoint you guys, I have this bar of 160 layer of Damascus, and what I actually wanted to do with those razor blades, I actually wanted to twist them, but this bar is already twisted enough and broken, so therefore I'm going to forge out this bar into a nice rod, and then I can start maybe try to twist it and we'll still have a really cool knife in the end. What made me super happy was seeing that twisting and how the scale popped off the hot steel. It was so cool to see, and it also showed me that my Damascus is forge welded really nicely, otherwise it could have twisted apart. After each twist I also covered that whole piece with flux so don't get any kind of scale on that, because you can twist that scale into the steel, and you don't want to have that because this can lead to really bad failures during the heat treatment. After a couple of days thinking about it, I have probably figured out what went wrong, but I'm not really sure. First, I should have only added some razor blades into the canister, filled that up with some steel powder, and then adding the next razor blades and the steel powder. Maybe there were too many voids in between, which caused bad welds and pockets inside of that steel that scaled up. What I also noticed when I was rewatching the footage, I also pressed too much in the beginning, which deformed the canister, and that could have led to pressing into the material and splitting it. I don't want to give up this task and this failure. My parents always told me, learn from your mistakes and do better next time. Positivity is super important to me. There's always a plan B, and then you gotta execute this plan. My whole knife making life and my life beforehand was basically I'm learning from my failures and improving upon them and get it better done next time. And if you guys have any kind of tips that could help me with Canister Damascus, drop it down below. After the twisting, I had to forge the steel flat again to get a thickness of material that I can work with. With twisting you lose a lot of material. You have to cut off both ends of the piece because they don't have a really nice twist in them, and you don't want to have that in the end product. The Forgeworks part is now done, and now Grindworks steals the show again. For profiling the knife, I like to use my 10-inch contact wheel. It grinds faster and also cooler. If you would grind it on your flat platen, especially if you have one out of mild steel, it could uneven spots in your platen. My favorite part is definitely the spark sliding. That is just different than stainless steel. My Clerix belt grinders are super versatile, so I can flip them, and that helps me with squaring up the side profile, and you can also get a really nice fine finish. Now to the heat treatment. Before I hardened the razor, I made 3 normalizing cycles to relieve the steel from any kind of stresses I put it underneath while forging. I then proceeded to quench the knife in my quenching oil, and after the quench was successfully, I went right into the temper. So, still a little bit hot, but it's now time to grind it. I took my smallest contact wheel that I have, which is an 8-inch contact wheel. With a razor, you want to have a really deep hollow grind and an edge that is so thin you want to grind it to a 0 edge. If you are grinding a razor, be super careful with overheating. The edge is so thin and can burn in a millisecond. So always use fresh belts, take it slow and cool your knives. I have now several names. Some people call me Forgeworks, some call me Grindworks. Should I have a name for hand sanding? Maybe Handworks, Sanding Works? Let me know if you have a good idea. Now that we're talking about hand sanding, I have to now get this knife up to a 600 grit finish. I made myself a block that I quickly ground on the belt grinder that has the same diameter than the 8-inch contact wheel. Alright guys, so I've got now the little razor hand sanded up, and now it's actually time to etch it. But before I'm going to etch it, I wanted to show you something. I haven't sharpened this thing up, it's just as thin as I've ground it, and it already cuts paper. This is insane. This razor is super thinly ground, and I'm super happy with it, and I'm really looking forward to etch it. Now, to etch this blade, I'm going to use gator piss. I don't know why they actually called it like that, but it works wonders, so let's etch this blade. Now that the etching part is done, the only thing I have to do is sharpening up the razor, and I wanted to try something out. I took out my Hall 3 Pro and I tried to sharpen my razor with the Hall. It definitely worked out. I had to be super carefully, but it was a really nice experience, and I could take the razor up to a 10,000 grit finish with their Kagami stone. And there you go guys, even after a big failure in the beginning, I managed to finish an amazing razor. I'm really happy now it turned out, even though it was planned differently. Not everything works out in life, and sometimes you have to find a plan B, and I hope you guys still learned something from this video. Never give up, you always find a way to proceed and learn from your mistakes and improve upon them. So you guys didn't think I'm going to shave this beard with this razor? No, but if this video gets 10,000 likes, I know it's a high number, but I don't want to lose this beard, then I'm going to shave the beard and we'll have a really nice mustache. So guys, if you want to see that, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, write a comment, and we'll see us in the next one.